Kenpachi and Gremmy ride the killer's high in my review of Bleach, chapter 575. The battle between Kenpachi and Gremmy is still underway, and I liked this week's chapter because a little bit more happened. We actually got to see a little bit more of Gremmy's abilities this week, and we got to see that he's finally starting to get pushed back against the wall a little bit. But before the battle between Gremmy and Kenpachi even starts, at the beginning of this week's chapter, there's that one Quincy by the name of Knocklavar who's watching from far away with his binoculars, and he's sort of questioning as to why the king decided to let this monster out in the first place, and I assume he's actually referring to Gremmy. And it looks like Gremmy's not all talk, because even Knocklavar is saying how powerful he is and how destructive he can be just with his imagination. And we're also introduced to a brand new Quincy character by the name of Pepe. He has a hilarious name and he has a hilarious design. He's this big, chubby guy with a massive beard and this big staff with an eyeball on it, and he's floating around on this giant discus thing. I don't know what to make of this character at all. All I know is he looks crazy and hilarious, and his speech bubbles have these hearts in them for some reason, and just seeing him and Knocklavar together just makes them seem like a very disturbing and creepy combination. But we immediately go back to the action this week, and something that is worth noting is that Kenpachi actually notices that Kotetsu is still alive, and he actually sends Yachiru down to help her out, and of course to fix her arm. And this is where the battle begins with Kenpachi and Gremmy. I love how he's pushing Gremmy back and trying to get him to fight back, because no matter what he imagines, whether it be massive stone pillars being thrown right into Kenpachi's face, he manages to just cut right through everything. And Kenpachi's sort of having a little battle of philosophy with him as well, which is really interesting for his character. He's curious as to why a Quincy who is so strong and considered the strongest is not wanting to kill someone who's just as powerful, such as Kenpachi. And little by little as the battle is going on, you get to see that Gremmy is starting to get more interested in the battle. He's starting to ride that killer's high, and he's starting to get more pissed off, and that's when he starts to use some more elaborate abilities. I especially love the panel where Kenpachi is running towards him, and then he suddenly summons all of these guns around him. Everything from machine guns to shotguns, assault rifles, and they all just immediately start firing in Kenpachi's direction. And then he starts firing missiles, but Kenpachi just manages to cut literally right through them. It's a great chapter, and I really love the panel where Gremmy is starting to go sort of insane, and you can tell that he's starting to enjoy the battle with Kenpachi. It's really, really well done. But at the end of the chapter, Kenpachi is actually communicating with his sword, and it looks like in the next chapter he might actually release his Shikai for the very first time. All I know is I'm loving this right now, because at first I thought that he was going to sort of pass the battle on to Yachiru, and I love Yachiru. I think she's a great character, and I think there's a lot of potential for her, especially for the fact that they've been hiding her abilities and not really showing what she's capable of. Although we do know a little bit more now, because she's able to summon those. Well, she doesn't really summon them, they just sort of always attack with her in tandem, the big monsters. But still, I want to see more of what she can do. But Kenpachi, he's just a great character to watch. You can tell that there's been a lot of growth for his character. You know, usually before he was just sort of a wild madman and didn't really question or even talk too much. But you can tell he's a little more philosophical now ever since he had his final training session. And he seems a lot more mature than he was before. I'm really interested to see where this battle's going to go. I'm still holding firm that Gremmy is using his abilities to look like a child in order to fool his opponents a little bit and to mess with them. I don't think that's going to work with Kenpachi at all in the least. I want to know how Knocklavar and how Pepe are going to get involved in this battle, or if they're just going to go away. And I do like the concept that they brought up that this guy was like a monster who was kept in a cage for a long time and they just decided to let him out. And of course there's the whole concept this week of the fact that Gremmy was so powerful that no one ever even tried to attack him before. They would never bare their fangs towards him, and this is the first time he's ever had someone like literally just try to kill him with no prejudice. And because of that, he's sort of like getting off on it a little bit. These are two characters who really seem to be enjoying battle and destruction, and it really showed this week. Another thing that made this chapter good, of course, was all of the artwork. All the action scenes were really well done. All of those great big explosions. My favorite scene was when Gremmy summoned all of the guns around his body and all the missiles and everything. It just looked really cool and very unique for Bleach. Just seeing a bunch of guns and missiles getting fired at somebody. And you know that's not going to work against Kenpachi. So I loved this chapter. I thought it could have gone by a little bit faster in some of the parts at the beginning with Noklavar and Pepe. However, I'm never too angry when they introduce a brand new character, especially when there's someone absolutely ridiculous. So because of all the cool action this week, I'm going to give this week's chapter a 9 out of 10. I think it definitely deserved it. Kenpachi's my favorite character, and little by little this battle is getting more interesting, and this week was definitely the best part of the battle between Kenpachi and Gremmy. So 9 out of 10 from me. Check it out, guys. It's pretty damn awesome. So if you guys had a chance to check out this week's chapter of Bleach, I would love to hear your thoughts about it. And you can tell me with your comments below. You can tell me about your favorite moments, favorite action scenes. What do you think of the brand new Quincy Peppy? And did you think this was just a crappy chapter? Remember, guys, before you leave, make sure and hit that like button so you can give this video a thumbs up. It's definitely one of the easiest ways to support our videos, and it really does help out a lot. And you can check us out on Facebook and on Twitter. I'll put links to both of those in the description box below. And it is also worth mentioning that if you want to see more of our content, make sure and subscribe to our channel so you'll be able to see all of that as it is released. So, I'll see you next time, guys. Super Kami Guru 9000, out.